Welcome to Innovation Insights, where we discuss best practices in the world of innovation. Joining me today is Stantec's Regional Sector Lead for Clean Generation, Jag Singh. Jag, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So now your work is focused on nuclear power, specifically small modular reactors. Now, what are those and how can they be effective tools in the green energy toolkit?
So small modular reactors are a version of our conventional nuclear reactors. They rely on the fission technology, that's nuclear fission, and they provide stable baseload green energy. So they are extremely beneficial because they are cost effective, they're safer, and they can be deployed in remote locations. So they're incredibly important for the green energy transition.
Now, nuclear power, of course, can be a very controversial topic. So how does that impact your approach to innovation?
So there's usually three areas in terms of controversy with nuclear power. So that is safety, waste, and cost. So for the safety aspect of it, a lot of the SMRs are coming out with new innovative technologies like the negative thermal reactivity coefficient. An example of that is as the reactor gets hotter, it gets less reactive. So it's inherently safe, it's walkaway safe, so you can't have a meltdown. With the waste aspect of it, companies like Moltex, where I used to work, they actually close the nuclear fuel cycle and they use existing spent fuel stockpiles on the CANDU fleet and elsewhere in the world to create new fuel for the reactors. So waste is no longer seen as a liability, but instead an asset. Conventional nuclear power stations are very expensive. They're up in the billions and billions of dollars. Now, the key important aspect with SMRs are they're smaller, they have a smaller footprint, and you can modularize them so you can get advanced manufacturing techniques. We end up with a cost-effective solution as opposed to our conventional big reactors.
How do you deal with uncertainty and setbacks? Can you give me like a concrete example from your work perhaps in the last 6 to 8 months?
Moltex is a first-of-a-kind technology, and what we're finding is we have requirements which change. It's because it is right in its theoretical stage. These things are changing all the time. It's very important to stay true to some of your principles, but remaining agile and dynamic enough to change.
So now one phrase I'm thinking of as you describe the theoretical aspects of your work is trusting the process. So what does that mean to you with your work with SMRs?
We have decades of experience in the nuclear industry there. There is a process and a way of doing design, right? So we have FEL processes, we have other standard design processes, and establishing design gates to make sure that we take a structured and robust approach to developing something which ultimately costs billions of dollars, that we don't get to the end and it doesn't work. We must not lose sight of being agile and dynamic enough to make sure that we build upon those structures.
You mentioned losing sight. So how do you maintain focus and vision in such a rapidly changing landscape?
Every day we see announcements, sometimes multiple times a day across the world when it comes to the nuclear industry. And it's a really difficult thing to do. However, one way I approach it is just maintaining those close contacts with governments, with utilities, with technology providers, and other industry leaders, just to filter out the noise and get a real true finger on the pulse on what's really going on in industry.
Where do you see the nuclear power industry going in the next 5 to 10 years?
So we're definitely going to see the Darlington reactor on site in the next 10 years. That's going to be operationalized. So that's earmarked for early 2029, may go on to 2030. However, what we will see is once the first one becomes operationalized, we'll see an order book, we will see massive amounts of utilities and government entities jumping on the bandwagon.
So Jag, it's funny that you mentioned Darlington, the nuclear power plant. I grew up 10 minutes away from there. It's near my childhood home. My parents still live there. So they're putting an SMR at Darlington. In fact, my dad worked there for 30 years. So what is happening with that reactor and what's the future hold?
They are going to put on the G reactor. They're going to deploy that at Darlington site. So Ontario Power Generation is the utility that's driving this, and the Darlington project will be the first SMR in Canada. We'll also see that similar approach and the similar technology and the similar integrated delivery model be replicated across North America.
Jag, really enjoyed this. Thanks for your
again.
time.
Jag.